It's March 21st, 2015. Steve's got the sniffles still. And this is your Fortean Slip News.
In our first story from the HuffingtonPost.com, a former NYPD cop claims that the 9/11 debris was haunted by a ghost. And you know what he's done, Chris? He's written a book about it.
No.
No. Workers who were tasked with sifting through the rubble from September 11th terrorism attacks saw a female ghost among the debris, a new book claims. The book's author, retired NYPD Lieutenant Frank Mara, says that he and a group of other workers observed the spirit while they searched through the debris of the Twin Towers at the Fresh Kills landfill in Staten Island. According to the New York Post, the ghost was an African-American woman, and she was dressed in white in the style of a Red Cross worker during World War II, because that makes a lot of sense. She is said to have been spotted carrying a tray of sandwiches. I thought she was trying to help us, being first responders, Mara told the Post. He added that the workers at Fresh Kills also saw other strange things, including shadows and large black masses. Mara's book, From Landfill to Hallowed Ground, details his experiences at Fresh Kills in the aftermath of 9/11. It takes readers to the Staten Island landfill, where the largest movable crime scene in America was combed and searched for those buried beneath the twisted metal, steel, and cement. The book's website reads, "Whoo! I hate people who try to the 9/11 thing, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
I sat there and watched that unfold on TV that day, and it still means something to me. And when people, maybe they did see a ghost at night at the landfill or whatever. Maybe they did, but don't fucking write a book about it. That's just me. I'm sorry.
I don't know as far as about writing a book or anything like that. I don't know.
Profiting from that.
It's fucking, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, we make a little bit of money on YouTube, or you do, with this newscast and our shows, but we're not really profiting from 9/11. But when you set out to write a book and your tagline reads, "We saw a ghost at the debris field," that bothers me. But anyway, just saying. That's probably why we haven't done a show on 9/11 conspiracy theories, because I don't think I could I could do it.
I don't know. As far as like 9/11 is concerned, I think there are enough people out there talking about it that I don't need to weigh in on it. I don't know that I buy that anything was fucking hokey. It may have been used afterwards to take action in other areas. That may have happened.
That I'm sure of.
And it was definitely profited off of.
Oh, absolutely.
But
and it shouldn't have. To me, that's sacred. You know,
but hey,
died that day, man.
It is what it is. It was in my lifetime. I saw it.
Well, yeah.
I don't need to. I don't know. I guess I don't need to talk about it too much.
No. And our next story from the PlymouthHerald.co.uk. Strange case of the World War I UFOs unearthed by Plymouth author. World War I, London. A German airship is pounding the capital with bombs. Several aircraft are scrambled to attack the enemy raider. But as well as a giant Zeppelin, a mysterious object is seen in the sky by the British pilots. One of them described it as looking like a railway carriage with blind
this story
steps.
We don't give a shit about, Steve, because it's too far removed from us.
That's right. Now, 30 years from now, if you want to say something about 9/11, maybe then. But right now, no, you made me lose my spot. One pilot took some shots with his revolver, but the object flew away out of range. The strange incident is one of the more extraordinary encounters featured in the Plymouth author's latest book. Another book. UFOs of the First World War. There are many more.
That Nigel's bastard! How dare he profit on the backs of dead men?
Dead aliens.
Oh, dead aliens?
So it's okay. Wow. Nigel's book will cause a rethink for anybody who reckons UFOs... But
it was during World War I.
Right.
All right.
Only arrived after World War II, departed in 1945. In other words, they're saying that people didn't realize that there were UFOs before World War II. The term flying saucer was coined in 1947 after a description of an unexplained object that flew like a saucer would if you skipped it across the water. But UFOs have been seen for centuries, and descriptions of them have evolved over time. It's called cultural tracking, says Nigel.
Ancient Aliens, Steve. Things. I've seen the show. Giorgio Tsoukalos.
People tend to see things in the sky that are a bit more advanced than the current technology, but still within the bounds of credibility and the possibilities of that time. We see what is conditioned by the media and culture. Hence, during 1914 to 1918, people saw and explained what they saw as objects that fitted the era of airships and biplanes. Nigel is an expert in the history of UFOs, and the latest book is his fourth on the subject. His research came from War Office files held by the Public Records Office. Police passed sightings to the government department charged with conducting the British effort during the conflict, and from newspapers which are heavily censored from 1915 on. Military intelligence officers investigated the sightings, says Nigel. Often they were found after a few phone calls to be misidentifications, and some were not explained. There were a lot of UFO sightings in the Lake District. Troops were sent to search for an enemy aircraft base in Scotland. Nothing was found, but a reward of £100, the equivalent of a year's wage for some, was offered to anybody who did. I'm going to skip ahead here.
I hope so.
Nothing,
I'm getting bored, Steve.
Yeah, me too. Nothing he has found has convinced Nigel of the presence of alien life in connection with the sightings. He remains an optimistic skeptic, he says. UFO of the First World War is published by the History Press and is available for $9.99 in pounds. I don't know what that translates into dollars, actually.
No, I don't have a fucking clue.
Yeah, probably like
Ask
$30.
Our UK listeners.
I think only listeners we have are in the UK. Well, there's a Canadian, too. A couple Canadians. And in our final story, and this one's been all over at least my Facebook page, so we're going to read it. From Cron.com, Sasquatch hunters near Houston say they were attacked by Bigfoot. The Sasquatch didn't like it when explorers in the San Houston National Forest drew near to them last week. And in his fury, Bigfoot hurled, I think it is, giant logs at the curious humans. That's according to Wes Germer, host of the Sasquatch Chronicle podcast, whose team ventured into the East Texas piney woods with the guide of Bob Garrett and Sons, a Conroe family of self-declared cryptozoologists who have tracked legendary creatures throughout the woods of north of Houston for years and who document their findings in various Bigfoot blogs. The expedition? Yeah. The expedition didn't photograph the monsters, of course. It seems that the Sasquatch is bashful before cameras.
You think they're being a little fucking dickish with that comment in the story?
I think they might be. But that doesn't mean the researchers didn't get close to the mysterious subjects. My heart was pounding in my throat, said Germer on his podcast, as he recounted his chilling brush with the unknown giant. In the early night, you see, I know more about this story than I'm reading here, but in the early night, the forest was tame as Germer and Garrett sat and chatted in the camp while the crew was out exploring with flashlights and night vision goggles. Then the noise came. We hear this thing crash through the brush, and then we hear this thing start crashing. Just crash, 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 Germer said.
Wow.
And you can hear, that's what it says in the story. I'm just reading.
Listen to you fucking getting all dramatic.
And you can hear it walking, and you can hear it breaking branches as it's going. At first, he said he was upset that one of his team members was making such a racket, and thought it was strange that someone would try to navigate without a light. But then he quickly noticed the faint glow of lights from far away, and all of his team gathered in the distance. Garrett announced the forest creature wasn't one of them. Then the giant bolted off and plowed fiercely through the dense brush with astonishing speed. This thing moved so fast, it probably, quote-unquote, covered 100 to 150 yards like nothing, Germer said. The commotion settled, and Germer estimated the creature was just 30 or 40 feet beyond the tree line of the campsite, but the thicket obscured it entirely. Garrett is a seasoned East Texas tracker, and he loaded his gun and ducked into the brush to catch a glimpse of the monster. Germer followed, but a glimpse never came.
How do they fucking know it was a monster then, if they never got a glimpse?
He had monster-like behavior, apparently.
Oh.
Because as the two men neared the spot where they heard the beast lurking, a noise grew in the air, like the beating of helicopter blades coming straight for them. And I knew what it was. It was a log coming, and it was a big log, and you could hear it being thrown, Germer said. And I ducked down because I thought for sure it was going to hit one of us in the head. This is an exciting recount of a mysterious tale.
This is amazing.
It hit a tree right in front of us. And
I think Jeff should do this as a fucking bedtime story. I mean, a fucking campfire story.
I knew what just threw that log at us. I knew what just paced us in, he said. The two men were lucky to come out with their lives. And Garrett declared that these had issued them a warning. But it wasn't the only time. See, this is the first time I'm actually reading this account of the story.
Oh.
But it wasn't the only time Sasquatch threw logs at the unwelcome intruders to his forest domain. Germer recounted a time in the very same trip when a log crashed down into the spot where his girlfriend had just sat moments before.
Dun, dun,
exciting stuff. Garrett also, it almost sounds like a TV show pilot, if you ask me. Garrett also reports multiple instances of Sasquatch log throwing in the piney woods on his blog, Sasquatch Mountain. According to one post, he and his son once took shelter in their truck as it was bombarded by multiple Sasquatches in an abandoned campsite left ransacked by the creatures.
Wow.
He could hear them run back and forth as the
wow, Steve, it's crazy. They had Bigfoot. It was amazing. No camera.
Bigfoots are bashful.
They cloak.
We could hear them run back and forth. This is such a good story. I'm going to continue reading.
Oh, okay.
We could hear them run back and forth, and the tree limbs and broken trees flew into the camp nonstop, he wrote in 2014. In the end, Germer's Texas trip was lush with close encounters. One of his team members and podcast co-host, Shannon LeGros, reported the incredible sound she described as an owl that went into a monkey. We heard an owl go off, and we were like, yeah, okay, that's an owl. Well, whatever decided to go off after that, it sounded more like you were on a primate house, and it just sounded like a monkey trying to be an owl. And then it sounded, I don't know. Come on. And then it sounded more like an owl after that. It was incredible. It was awesome, she said. Yeah, I'm guessing it was probably an owl.
It was incredibly an owl.
Germer also witnesses the strange sound, but he reflected on his experience to determine that it didn't have the ring of a Sasquatch, and in fact, he didn't believe it was one. So what could it be? A freaking werewolf, he suggested. All right, that's the end of that story. Now, didn't you have a little update from Mr. Germer?
I I guess he's had posted something about some people had contacted him. I sent you the
Regarding the
information.
lighting, lights in
Yeah,
the sky or the full moon or whatever.
the lighting in the sky and it may have. Well, it just. Ugh.
It boils down to Mr. Wes Germer sounds like he's covering his ass.
Hold on.
Because people
I
called
don't.
him out on
No, I don't
parts
want to
of his story.
misrepresent this. I don't want to misrepresent
Well,
this.
I'm not misrepresenting it. I'm telling you what I think.
No, no, I get that. I just don't want to misrepresent this.
While you're looking this up, I think Wes and Woody are probably decent gentlemen. I think Bob Garrett's probably a decent guy. I mean, I have some information that obviously I can't share now, but there will be some coming out. But I think they just took the story too far.
All right,
And
this was
now,
sent to me.
now this is what happens.
I would assume that this was posted somewhere on Facebook. I don't honestly don't know.
I know where it was posted. There's a closed group, fans of Sasquatch Chronicles, and that's where it was posted.
Okay, and this is from Wes Germer. It says, thanks everyone for the support. I was contacted by 2 engineers today who told me the date and light conditions of my encounter were nagging on them. I guess November 12th, 2012 to November 16th, 2012, there was a major solar flares. I think he wrote that wrong. That affected satellites and communications and would have lit up the sky at night, making it brighter than normal. I appreciate all the kind words from everyone. It means more than you guys know. I'm ready to put this past me and get back to the show. Like I said, the show isn't about the hosts. The real star of the show is the person who comes forward to share their encounter. I am a nobody.
Well, yes.
And half of your show left.
And I'm assuming it's over this whole, okay, we're going a little too far debacle bullshit. I'm just going to call it what it is. It's bullshit. None of this, I mean, the torn up camp story from 2014 has pretty much, and I'm sure more information is coming out on that. It just didn't make sense. And then you know, all the government shut us down and now, but they're back. That kind of bullshit. Come on.
Yeah, this boils down to what we've talked about on this show more times than I can count. That 90, I think we're up to 99. Are we up to 99?
We're up to whatever, yeah, something like that.
99% of all of this is bullshit. Bullshit. Especially in the fucking Bigfoot world.
Well, here's the thing. I know, and you know, that these people are associated with other people, and there's some of those people who have no problem making up a story. So that's how I look at it. And so I'm assuming that these people are no different.
Yeah, I don't know. I see it all as...
Brings me back to the whole stump squatch debacle of, 2013, the root ball.
The root ball and the fucking Sasquatch holding the baby that was a rock. Yeah.
Right. It's the same associates, same people. And so that's why this story to me is no more than just a story. It's bullshit for ratings and for maybe a TV show, because I'm assuming that that's probably where they're going with this, or we're trying to. That's all.
Awesome.
What do I have to say about that?